going to show you some tips, tricks, techniques and stuff like that to help with your creating, sculpting, that sort of stuff. Now if you play Dreams, this will make sense. If you don't play Dreams, then some of these won't necessarily make sense. Excuse me. But first off the bat, left shoulder button, pressing that and clicking a button will normally give you a alternate option to, like if I just click, it highlights. If I left shoulder or L1 and then click, it gives a different one. So just remember your shoulder buttons are useful, like holding them both in will pivot you around the object using the gyroscope in the controller. So if you want to pivot around, for example, the head, you can literally hold both the shoulder buttons in at a point and you will pivot around that point using the sticks, gyroscope, zooms, all this stuff will pivot around where you've actually clicked. So that's that. And if we come into here and just say, for example, we're working on, actually we'll do a chest. Mirror, clicking that gets rid of the dot, the line, but it still mirrors. So that's a useful one as well. If you're on stamp, you'll have this blend option, which I highly recommend. And just say, for example, if you've gone there and you've turned the blend up, just say you're making a set of breasts like that, but you want the crease because you don't want it to be all one piece. You can literally also use the blend, grab a shape, we'll say for example, we'll go square, go negatives, use the align so it snaps straight to it, put a bit of blend on it. Now obviously the amount doesn't matter, choose whatever you feel's right. Adjust. While you're in that, you can adjust the size of the shape. And now that you've got the shape, you can literally, for example, place it. Once it's placed, rotate it to there, bring it out to say there, and you have a crease. Now obviously the amount of blend you do does determine on the roundness that this gives you. So if I was to do the exact same one again, but instead of going that, I go none. It's, as you can see there, it's a sharp edge. If I go heaps, it's a full-on, like a nothing blend. So you can use, let's move this to the side. Let's get rid of more to the side. There we go, get rid of that one. We can then grab these ones, move these in, a different kind of breast. So using the blend on the negatives as well as the positive can have really helpful outcomes. So using that, I've made what you could call, what we, in my day we used to call mozzie bites. Any girls from my era, you know, the old, I don't know what they call them nowadays, it's the ones after the boomers, but it's not the gens, in brackets. We used to call them mozzie bites. Any girls in that era that don't know what we're talking about. My niece, she knows what I'm talking about. So that there in itself, you use the blend. Now to get the blend, if you go into the preferences, if you've got things like you got your dream shaping and stuff like that, where you can see like where the things are and all that, but then you go to your tools, smear and stamp. If you have it on stamp, that smoothing is there. If you have it on smear, it's not there. So just remember that. Now also to, if you're making, for example, that, and you want to put in brackets, a top or a shirt or a singlet or a bra or something like that, you can also use the cloning. Make sure just the zoom is, so see how I'm editing here? That's the zoom you want. It's hard to, once you start clicking, you know what I'm talking about. If I'm here, I can see, like, if I come to the arm, just the arm's lit. Go to the body, the body and the arms are lit. That means I'm on this part here. If I click once more using the left shoulder, it goes to the edit mode. So I don't want to be quite at the edit mode. I want to be back one. Then I can grab this, use the grid snaps. Copy it to the side, move whatever positions you need. Get rid of the ones that aren't relevant. So we're going to make a bra, so we don't need those pieces. Turn off grid snap, and then we're going to go from the bottom, just tap up on the D-pad slightly at this roughly the center. The same from the bottom as from the top. And that is enlarging. I don't know if you can see it. If I'll do it a lot, it enlarges it. But we're only doing a tap. Right, choose how thick you want the clothing, and then use the minus with, obviously, we'll say next to no blend. We can go like here somewhere. Another quick little one is if you don't have any of them selected, that one there, then when you do that, it doesn't move to the precise the grid alignments. It makes it free move, so you can actually place exactly where you want it to go, and then you can like align to how you want it to be, like for example. But if you have that one turned on, it moves to the axes. So exactly, so if you want to, if it's aligned up to the Y, perfectly fine, but you need to move it just to the X, use the precise move. So you get it to roughly where you like it, enlarge it, move it in, and you can place it there. Now when it comes to the top, don't be shy in using other shapes. So like this one here is a tricky one to use, but like for example that one, if you want to make the centerpiece, you can go like this, align it roughly right, place it, like again, the first placement isn't important because you can always move your sculpts around afterwards. So just say we want it there, actually let's move it down a little further. We can actually probably get rid of that if we wanted to, but I'm not going to. Actually, what I might do is I'll move that out a little bit, just say it, change the shape just a little bit. And we're going to grab the clone again and just clone that to the side. So you've got where the arms come out, where the neck comes out, and where the body comes out. That's simple. Now we can grab it. If we're in the same spot, we can grab it with the grid back on and move it back across. Make sure we're placing it on so just the chest is highlighted. We can then move back across, place it, make sure that it doesn't move and doesn't interfere with the puppet. And there's a top. Like I've made it thicker so you can see it. I would normally only make it just slightly, but I've made it heaps thicker. So now when I come in and I go to the puppet, it has a bra. So if the puppet is, for example, it doesn't have to be a puppet, it can be a car, if you're making a car or something like that. For sculpting, I recommend using that, but when you're copying and you're going to be placing it back into the same location, use the grid snap, because you can move it 2 grids to the right, and then when you're done, move it 2 grids to the left, and it's back to where it started. So if from there we go to the paint tool, this one here, color picker, you can pick to paint the thing the color of whatever's on there. So we do that, then we grab this one, and instead of doing that one there, we're going to do a white so it stands out. So now when you're out here, it's got a bra. It's attached correctly because I've zoomed it in correctly. Now obviously if you're going to do joins and stuff like that, that's when placement of the cursor when you're enlarging makes a difference. So when you're enlarging something, we'll grab a cube, and let's make sure it's aligned. So if you're going to enlarge this cube, if I go from, put the cursor there and enlarge it, it enlarges it from that point. If I go from there, it enlarges it from that point. So you've got to take into account where your cursor is, or where your imp tail or tip is, does make a difference on where it's getting enlarged from. So like with, for example, this, if I delete it, we'll say we want to make a pair of underwear. If I go into here, grab just the hip, so I'm on there, back out one, go across, go like that. But with the grid on, delete what's not needed. Now if I click here, it enlarges it from that spot. If I click from the bottom, it enlarges from the bottom. That's what I've done from the bottom and the top. If I click from the front, the back part will have more puffiness, and the front won't move as much. That's why I go a tap from the top and a tap from the bottom, enlarging it roughly from the thingy. And then if I come into here, I can then come in here, grab the shapes I want to remove. Okay, we just go like that, like that. I'm not going to be too precise because literally it's a basic puppet. So we do that. Now, of course, we need the top cut off as well. So we'll grab a square for the top. Say there. That's fine. So now that that was gridded to the left, I can come back into the point. So just it's highlighted, making sure grid's turned back on. Make sure just the part I want to attach to is highlighted. Go across. Now obviously half the time if you sculpt off the puppet and you're cutting the things, as you can see, like that is, oh, it just fits. It's not 100% lined up, so just turn the grid off, come in, and those shapes I cut away, I can still adjust them. So that's what I was saying, like it's not final, so don't panic if you place it in the wrong spot. Just move it around a little bit. There's that. Then we can grab the paint tool, grab the white, paint it white, and always remember, come in, make sure that it's not going to interfere with the puppet in any way. Just a quick little side note in here, that makes the item so it moves. That makes it so it can be hit. That is how sticky it is, if you want to call it that. That's how heavy or dense it is, the density one. And this one here, if it is highlighted like it is there, gravity does not apply, so it will not fall to the ground. Even if that is turned on, it will not fall to the ground because it ignores gravity. If this one's on and that one is on, so it means it ignores gravity but can be moved, you can bump into it and it will start floating away like it was in space. Because it will move, it can be pushed with wind and other objects, just the gravity will not pull it down. So there we go, so that's that done. We've got as my puppet falls off the platform. So there you go, we've got underwear on a standard puppet. So the smear, if you're making something and you like using the smear, that's fine, but switch to stamp so you can use the blend tool. It is like this figure, a statue there I've made, I've used the blend tool so much. Some of the things on that thing, like I've got it's the light, so when you hover over the hairpiece, it turns the lights here on and off. You can move it. It's all movable. But that's all using the blend tool. Go to edit mode, rewind. In the actual here we go, up here in these. Do as I say, not as I do is a good thing here. I've got a habit of forgetting to do it, but whenever you place something down, whatever you're going to use it for, click on the name. You can rename it. So if that's going to be functions, so you write functions, you can tell it that that's functions. So now when you hover over it, you'll see it says functions. And you can also left shoulder, square, and choose an icon. So you can change it to that. And if you want to go on further, even change the color. So you can say green. So now it's like a greenish color, functions. And okay, that's functions. So if you're going to add a function which might be, I don't know, we'll say a slider. And a switch. Then you know, okay, the functions they're in there. I might also quickly show you too with the slider, this value slider here. You can change the decimals. So if you want a more precise movement, turn the decimals up. So as it stands right now, I can move it tiny amounts. Whereas if I reset and turn this to a 1 decimal, it literally moves by 0.1 per section. So if you want to find a movement, turn the decimals up. A good thing with these is, for example, if, just say, we want to add, we'll choose a nice bright color for now, a color slider. So, yep, cover in the back. We're going to change the color of the things here. A lot of people don't realize you can do this. But using the slider, you can literally hue cycle. If it's painted using the original color paint here, not this one, not the tint, but the actual, so when you click on it, using that one, the spray paint, if you've chosen a color, now choose a color that's obviously, that stands out, because you can adjust the additionals and everything. Let me just quickly make sure that, oh, I just knocked that over. Let's quickly do that. Alright. Okay, so we can quickly just add a, where are we? An animation. Grab that, place it while it's recording. Just turn that all the way to the right. I've just clicked on something extra, all the way to the right. Do it with both. And save it. If my cursor will work again. There we go, save it. And then we can grab that and connect it to there. Okay, so what we've got here is the slider, and that keyframe is altering the thing. So if I come into here now and move that, I can alter the color of those. So if you want to add a randomizer, or a player 1, player 2, player, or teams, a green team, a red team, a blue team, just figure out where blue team is, figure out roughly where red team is, and you got your thing. You can also do the same with the switches. If, for example, grab that and grab that. Now just say, for example, it's an armor and you want the armor to be destroyed at a certain point, or just say, yeah, if the health is less than, you can grab the calculator. If health is less than a certain number, you can then grab the health chip that's in the puppet, and the current health is 100. So if you go, just say, less than 50, so if that drops below 50, if you connect it to there, if that number is less than that number, it sends out a signal. Now, we want it to be breaking if it's less than that. So we don't want it less than, we want it greater than 50, And then we can run a line from there to the visibles, or the vision. So long as the number going in is greater than 50, that the, in brackets, armor will be visible. And just say we grab a, for testing purposes, where's their gadgets? Gadgets. I wish this would stay in order. Effects. I'm blind. I'm missing them. I'm betting. Contraptions. We'll grab that one. Nope. That one. Grab a test cube. Just to test it. Okay, so upon hit you will lose 50 points. So let's up it to 55. So it will guarantee in breaking it, and we don't want to force it. Okay. So when I bump into that cube, it will then take 55 points of health off me, and I've got to keep it above 50. So taking 55 points off 100 will take me to 45. So it will no longer be above 50. And therefore, the, in this case, in brackets, armor will break. So come on, bang. Oh no, the armor broke. So that's a useful thing with the calculator you can do. That's what I mostly use it for. Now, obviously, there are also other little gadgets in here that you can do that sort of stuff with as well. But I find the calculator and the selector are my two favorite ones to use, because you can use the selector to also make it. Say you want it to be able to turn off the armor. So just say you want, we'll say triangle. You can put the triangle to there, and you can grab the actual armor pieces. Actually, I can just run it from this one here. It always starts on the A. So A is on. So you run A to that. So if it goes to B, it will turn this off, which will turn the visibility of them off. So if I push triangle now, while I'm in the puppet, I can go triangle and turn it on and off. So if you're ever looking for a toggle, go look for the selector. Another good little tip too is you can actually make growing hair or whatever. So just say we want to make a beard on the head or a goatee or something like that. We can grab the paint tool, make sure we've got visibility on the grassy looking one, and we have it set to surface snap. We can just grab it to a size that looks good, rotate it so it's rotating the correct way, if it will let me. Let's zoom it down a little bit more, do a couple of strokes. Okay, there's a goatee. Let's attach it to the head, and then grab the paint gadget with the left shoulder, hover over it, left shoulder, square, gadget. Then we can grab a timer, one, place it there, and when you come into it, go to the flecky looking one, and you'll see it's got a loosen, stretch, impasto and ruffle. The impasto and the looseness will cause it to be fluffier looking. I'll show you as I come in closer, you can see it. See how it makes it look like that? You can use that and the timer. All you have to do is come in, again, use the keyframe, place it, turn that all the way up, turn that one all the way up, save it. Then from here, of course it's on 5 seconds, we'll leave it 5 seconds, timer output, run that to the keyframe. So as the timer is now rising, going from 0 to 5 seconds, it will slowly activate this. So if I now come into the puppet, okay, Okay, it's going to require me to adjust its camera because the camera is a bazillion miles away. Let's try it again. It will slowly... Oh, it's already there. God damn it, because it's only 5 seconds. You will slowly see it starting to grow. Now, the longer that timer is, so if you make it at 30 seconds, it'll take 30 seconds to get to the full fluffiness. So if you want to make a puppet that slowly grows hair or whatever over time, that's how you can do it. But I thought I'd just put this out here for these little things that people don't necessarily realise that you can do with certain gadgets. I thought I'd put it out there. The blend, I cannot say how many times it's been useful, like beyond the amount you can think of, and that in combination with the hollowing out of a shape and the sectioning off, you can literally get shapes that would be really hard to do if you didn't have the blend. If I was to just suggest anything to anybody who is trying Dreams out, test shit out. Just go in there, click on something, do something with it, go into your modes. So you got, if I come into here, you got search, then you got your tools and stuff like that. If I literally wanted to test it, just push options, view mode. I can then test, make sure that everything's connected correctly and all that, and then okay, something's tweaking or whatever, options, edit mode. Go back in, you can rewind, edit what you got to do, come back out, test it again. Like, it's super helpful. So if, for example, this sculpture here, I wanted to make a pair of underwear for it, I could literally like come in here, copy it, you go again, grid snap, make sure only the piece you require, so keep going until you get to the edit part, go back one, grab the clone, copy sideways. I can then use, without that on there, the cutaway tool, there, minus, make sure it's on the precise, put it on minus, there, minus. I can now cut away any of the stuff that I'm not going to use. So we'll go down like this. Let's move that back like that. We'll send like that. Actually, that can be shrunk down a little bit. We'll say about there. Now, because the feet and stuff, I'm not going to be using them. I can just raise it all the way up. Make sure it just as long as it's gone, it won't affect anything. Same with the top one. Go up to a point where everything that is not needed. So we'll say there. Let's move it across this way a little bit. So everything up here that is cut away will no longer have a physical interaction. So we'll move it across to say there. And one last one to get rid of the arms. Say there. And as before, you want to grab the sculpture, so it's like that. With that on, and just tap. And tap. So it's like that. Then we can grab the grid snap back on again. Move it across. And place it over the top of that one. And see how like that is poking through a little bit. That is because of where I selected. So I just got to lower it down a little bit till it lines up just right. In fact, can I? Yes, no poke through, good. Do that. Make sure it doesn't interact with anything. Come into here. Paint it. Yeah, we use the yellow. Boom. Now when I come back into the play mode, it's got an outfit on. I can still still moves. The light still works when I hover over it. It's now just got an actual outfit on. So that's it for today. I thought I'd put this out there. I've seen a few creations lately where they've tried to do this. And it's like they'll attach it to the wrong piece. If, for example, if I clone this puppet, just to show you what I mean by incorrectly placed, they'll have this, for example. If I grab the thing and I move it to that spot, it's one, not in far enough. Just to show you, if I then select the puppet and move, see how it does the whole not moving the way it shouldn't be moving. That's what I'm seeing a lot of. It's easily fixed. You just go into it again, using the snap so it doesn't move, highlight the object you want, and then keep clicking until you can't click anymore. As you can see, the chest is highlighted, but everything else is blurry. Release. Now when I go back into it, right here, it's attached correctly. These things here, that one, they will all make a difference. If I click that on, for example, that will now collide, and it will collide with anything that's lit up here. That's supposed to make it so it doesn't block the camera. I'm still having issues of it blocking the camera, especially when it's on the head. But simple things like having that turned on, no friction, butt loader density. If you do that and you go into play mode, see how it flew off and it's just flying away? Because it has the come in here, the ignore gravity on, it's because it took an impact and it's floating off into space. If I turn that off, it would now apply gravity. It will get hit and fall to the ground. If I go friction, we've got to rewind. It will take the hit and it will stop. So if you wanted to, for example, have a mechanic where, just say, instead of it just disappearing, it actually flies off the puppet, you could literally just make it so that when this happens, for example, it also turns on collisions. We'll turn that on. We'll do the same with the bottom one. When that happens, it turns on collisions, like so forth. If I now go to view, grab this puppet, when it takes the hit, oops, I took too many hits. When it takes the hit, it will, IX is still going invisible, hang on. Mistakes were made, okay. Visibilities will be that, and visibilities will be turned that one as well, okay. Now it should work, okay. So, boom. Wait, what? What's happening? It's opposite, isn't it? Because I'm doing the whole, we want it less than. If it's less than 50 now, the collisions will turn on. So yeah, so now there's no collision. Second I hit, now there's collisions, but obviously it hits that. So to make it so it doesn't hit the puppet, tell the puppet to be labeled as a friend, and then grab each one of these and make sure that when you do the collides with, It does not collide with the friend. So collides with, not the friend. So now when you do it, this one keeps flinging off. Why is it not falling down? Did I not turn the... I didn't turn the movable one, did I? Here I am trying to show you something. No. God, I'm a dumbass. Okay. I've turned the collidable on, but I have not made it so it's movable. So just simply, you could either run it when it becomes collidable, it's movable, like that. Or you can run it from here to the movable as well. But I'm just going to do it like that. Now, when it... Right now it doesn't move, it doesn't collide. As soon as you take the damage, it came off. Now obviously if you make this not flash and also stuff, if I come into here and go turn its... I think it's in there, isn't it? If we turn all that off, and I think it's that one I've got to turn off. I think the rest should be good. Okay. Now that I've got to rewind. So I've got my armor on. Or I take the hit, my armor pops off. And you could add a chip and that sort of stuff into the actual armor so you can pick it back up again if you want to. So I hope something in this helps somebody out with their creations. I'm going to call it here. So stay safe, look after each other, and if you're thinking about getting dreams, by all means get dreams. Just be prepared. It's got a fairly steep learning curve. Like, it's easy to create, but you don't have to create. But once you start creating, you start getting the tip, like the tips I just showed you start picking them up. You go, ooh, this makes it so much easier, and then all of a sudden you're creating cool stuff. Another quick little one before I go. If you're releasing something just because you need the space on your thing, don't release it as public necessarily. You can release it as a private creation, so only you can see it. So if, for example, I want to release this as private, I can literally go into the whole quick save. I can then go to the elements or the scene, click under that, and choose whatever you want. But you can choose to have it set as public, private, or offline. If you need the space on your hard drive, because you only save a certain number on your hard drive, release it as a private, so you can still access it, but no one else can. That way, when you go into the creations, you're not getting 20 creations of a guy that's literally just releasing something because he needs the space. If you can get it on sale, it's a really good buy. Full price, it's not the $100 game. It's like a $60 game. So it's cheaper than a full price game. And if you get it on sale, like, there's no questions about it. You don't have to create, you can just play. But if you want to create, you can create. And technically, there is no limits to what you can create. However, the moderation system is piss poor. It is disgustingly bad. Releasing stuff, like if I release that statue, it will get flagged. Even though you can clearly see it's not an actual person. It will go, oh my god, it's got breasts and it's humanoid shape and it's naked. It's like, how dare you? So be very careful of that. So yeah. Out of here, stay safe, and I'll catch you all next time. See you.